गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in chapter 7 of Amrutanubhava and verse number 216. And we are looking at here in the previous verse it was told that the self is self-existing and that the unimportance of the Triputi was given in the previous verse, and the inability of the instruments to 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 reveal the truth, that was also brought out. And now it is being again reiterated that the self, being thus self-ascertained and existent, why should one take the help of any other authority to prove the self? Can one say that the rope cannot be seen because there is no snake? So it says, Apanape drashta na karita ase paitha ata zalachi ditha ka karava. What to do? Ka karava. Apanape drashta. It is self-seeing. The self is self-seeing. It doesn't require na karita aise paitha. Without doing anything, it sees itself. And therefore, even without being a seer, the Atma exists. What is the need for this Atma to be a seer of the self? What is the need of any reference? What is the need of any authority? What is the need of any means or instruments in order to see the self? Because the self is self-seeing, self-illumined, self-existing, self-ascertained, self-abiding, self-knowing, self-conscious. And we are not talking about something that is somewhere. No, we are talking about the essence of you. I do not have to become a seer in order to convince myself that I am. The expression of Triputi is not needed to prove my existence, because I am the illuminator of the Triputis, because I am the illuminator of the Triputi called the waker, waking world and the waking experience, dreamer, dream world and the dream experience. And naturally, and the sleeper, absence of everything. Therefore, everything that is in the waking and dream, all the possibilities, all the options, everything is illumined by the conscious principle that I am. Therefore, these Triputis do not have the jurisdiction to reveal the self, but without the self, they cannot express. In the Turiya Avastha, in that absolute silence, there is full emptiness. Someone has an email, fullyempty@gmail.com. Fully empty. This emptiness is not inert. This emptiness, what is emptiness? Emptiness is space. Emptiness is that which accommodates everything. Space is also that which accommodates everything. And all that was there in the emptiness And why this word emptiness has come? Because there was something, now that something is not there, so what is remaining is nothing. So take it as a space. That space is not inert space, it is conscious space. You look at nothingness, darkness, emptiness as an object. The scriptures are telling you don't do that. Don't make emptiness as an object of contemplation. Then what is to be done? Accept that emptiness as conscious space. See? And that is the truth. But we have now, because we were addicted to something, now that something is gone, all the objects are gone, all specificity is gone. So now we say there is nothing. Is nothing an object? Think with a cool mind. That is the truth, where there is no trace of duality in spite of the experience of duality. So where there is no duality in spite of the experience of duality. That is the truth. So where is the duality being experienced? At the instrument level. And where there is no duality? In the essence. What is the essence? That is what you are. The ultimate seer. This existence is independent of the trio. This ultimate seer is independent of seer, seen, seeing, hearer, heard, hearing, knower, known, knowing, experiencer, experienced, experiencing. Is independent of that. He is independent of the waker, waking, and the waking experience, dreamer, dream world, and the dream experience, and the third one. And you cannot deny it because it is your knowledge, it is your experience. When you listen to these words, you know, yeah, I know all these three come and go. I know that the waking experience as a unit is made up of the Triputi, waker, waking world, and waking experience. Dream as a unit is made up as dreamer, dream world, and the dream experience. That is one thought. In that one thought, the entire waking world is there. In that one thought, the entire dream world is there. Once that thought opens up, that box opens up, the whole world with all its variety comes up at the gross level, at the subtle level. And there's someone watching. And someone is watching over this. And that seer, that watcher, that witness is the essential self. Why should one insist that the Atma Tattva should be proved? The truth is that because of which every authority has its existence, not a single authority, including the Vedas, is able to define the truth perfectly. This we must understand. And with that pinch of salt, as much as study we may do, let no arrogance come about as the proficiency in scriptures increases. The scriptures are only indicating the self. They are not proving the self. The scriptures are because of the self. The self is not because of the scriptures. Self is independent. But we came to know the scriptures only we came to know the self only through the scriptures. No. You were the self even before you know the scriptures. You have always been the self. There has never been a moment where we have become alienated from the self. It appears that you are alienated from the self because I am an individual right now, so self I have forgot. You cannot forget. You cannot distance yourself from the self. A wave can never distance itself from the waters. The ornament can never distance itself from the gold. Similarly, we as seekers, or we cannot separate ourselves from the self. Whether we accept it or we don't accept it, whether we know it or we don't know it, whether we are living in imaginations or not living in imagination or projection, the self is always. That is the truth. It is always the language of negation that is used, such as nishkalam, akriyam, avyayam, akarta, abhokta, etc. So what is that which is coming in between the wave and the water? Its identification with its form. And as a result, its identification with other forms. Then what has to be deleted? Those identifications. How do you delete? How do you know about those identifications? Through words, through value giving, through importance giving to those other forms. Then what you have to do? Then you have to devalue those words. So if I am identified with this body, then I have to disidentify with this body. How do I? I stop giving value to this body. I stop giving importance to this body. But what about food? What about breath? What about relations? What about possessions? What about past? What about future? Give zero value to everything. Don't give it any value and importance. How will I do that? It's very difficult. Then pluck weeds in the garden. This can be easily practiced if we watch the breath. When you start thinking too much and you are not able to come to correct conclusions, that means your thinking faculty is rusted. That refinement is not there. If we are a complaint box that it is not possible, it is not possible, it is difficult, nothing is happening, then take the breath. Breath is neutral. And catch the breath. Watch the breath, not catch the breath, watch the breath. And catch the moment where it begins from or where it concludes. Automatically, all that needs to be negated will be negated. All object, and what is that needs to be negated? Everything that is coming between you and the divinity that you are. You and the Atma. What is coming in between? The Triputi. The Triputi will start dissolving, because as the breath slows down, so also the Triputis in the mind slow down. And as the breath becomes very slow and shallow, the number of Triputi eruptions in your mind, they also slow down. And for few seconds, there is no breath coming in and no breath going out. At that moment, directly proportional to that, in your mind also, there is no Triputi erupting. And if it is not erupting, there is no dissolution also required. Your mind is standstill. And that standstill mind where there is no eruption of Triputi is the conscious self. At that time, don't say there is nothing, there is emptiness. No, that standstill mind where the last thought, the moment your attention is at the beginning or the conclusion of the breath, and the moment the breath stops, at that very moment, if I say it from relative point of view, the thoughts also stop. And when the thoughts stop, then emptiness does not begin. This is our imagination that there is something called emptiness. The moment thoughts stop, then there is conscious space. And that conscious space or that consciousness that you are is not affected, influenced, hijacked by the absence of Triputi, which is called emptiness, or presence of Triputi, which is called a thought. So presence or absence of thought does not affect the ultimate, the supreme seer. And that is your experience day in and day out. This is what is being mentioned here. And that ultimate seer is neither, it has got no attributes, no diversity within itself. You may say the diversity of the water is is the waves, but from water's point of view, there is only water. There is no wave or ocean. So nishkalam, akriyam, it is the non-doer. There is no activity in it. There is no movement in it. It is complete. Here, water example will not work. So where is the movement? Movement is only in imagination. Movement is in relativity. And relativity has got no place. Relativity is a no topic from the point of view of the self, because it alone is. Oh, but we see all the movement. You see the blueness of the sky also. You see the movement of the sun also going down and coming up. You see the mirage waters also. But do you run after it? No. Next moment the moment you see it, next moment it goes out of your mind. So appearance of the relativity or absence of the relativity, in other words, appearance of the Triputi or absence of Triputi is the ultimate seer is not affected. But this relativity or this Triputi is the language, is a negation of this Triputi. And that is what is, that is the way by which we land into ourselves. We don't create the self. We don't discover the self, or if you want to use the word discover correctly, de-cover. So what was the covering over the self? Triputis. We have removed the Triputis. That's where our jurisdiction is. That is where our power is. That is where our options are. Whether to increase the Triputis or decrease the Triputis. We have decreased them and make them completely nil. And what remains behind is the self. Because there is no one left behind to say, I am the self now. If that thought is coming that I am the self, you are still in the relativity, you are still in the mind. As Jnaneshwar Maharaj himself has explained earlier in chapter 5, even the terms Satchidananda are not positive definitions of the truth, but they are the relative definitions of truth, because Sat was for cancelling the asat, chit was for cancelling the achit, and anand was for to cancel the dukkham. They are employed only to remove the negative understanding that the truth is non existent, or is other than I, or is limited. So, all language is only used to emphasize that you are other than any concept, you are other than any emotion, you are other than any thought, you are other than any triputi, you are other than even the I thought. And that is because our understanding is always this or that, or this versus that, good, bad, hot, cold, hunger, no hunger, up, down. Everything is existing in opposites. So, all these, and we start thinking self, not self. so, so, there also we have created self, not self. So, existence, non existence. So, philosophy of non existence is created. Duality, non duality. So, here it is being, so this, to get us out of this loop of duality, to get us out of the loop of opposites, that is the intention. And what are those opposites? Technically, they are nothing but the triputis, and we have to get out of that. And recognize, and when we come out, or not recognize, and when we come out of these triputis, then that unlimited principle, that non-specific principle, that referenceless principle, that's, I'm using these words from negative point of view now. Positive, self-existing principle, self-conscious principle, self-illumined principle, self-knowing principle, that alone remains. Therefore, there is nothing in this world which can be considered as authority to establish the truth. Not the experience, not the scriptures, not the Vedas, not the Upanishads. Then, but you said, everything, the authority for any statement, the Shankaracharya or other masters, they quote the authority of the Vedas. Yes, that whatever statement they make or have made is in the relative world, and something in the relative world is taken as the authority, and that ultimate authority in the relative world is the Vedas or the Upanishads, and that is correct. But it is not that the self is because the Upanishads say so. The self is not because I had the experience of the self. If you had, you have been taken for a long ride by your mind. And for this purpose, the scriptures say, we cannot say. And then they talk about this contradictory language, knowing less knowing, experience less experience. The eye behind the eye, the mind of the mind, the ear of the ear, in such airy-fairy language they start telling. Because in the end, scriptures are also a part of the relative. But suppose it is still argued, why should one insist on negating the triputi? After all, it is because of the triputi alone one is able to arrive at the substratum. What is wrong in that approach? Suppose this thought is taken. Naturally, I can't stop thinking. If I open my eyes, seer, seen, and seeing is born. The moment I wake up in the morning, waker, waking experience, and the waking world is born. I can't stop it. Why I have to negate it? If I can't, if I didn't create it, they automatically started. Why I have to negate it? What is the necessity? नाना मागुते दाविले तरी पुनरुक्तते झाले येणे ही बोले गेले धावणे वृथा. Even if the seer is proved on the basis of the seen repeatedly, the outcome is that the already existing self is reaffirmed. Therefore, this effort has indeed gone waste. He says, if you say that after the snake has been spotted, the rope is seen, it is only thereafter it is discovered that the rope is the reality. In the same way, unless there is world, unless there is Triputi, the substratum cannot be appreciated. Such a statement is meaningless. Now, when such a statement is made that why we have to negate the Triputi, because of the Triputi only I am able to know that the self as the self. Because of the Triputi only I am able to say and communicate to myself that the self is self-luminous, self-existing, self-knowing. Here the teacher is saying that that it is such statements are meaningless, because now what is happening? The Triputi has become the means and self has become the goal. Self is because of the Triputi, because the Triputi said this, because of the script, because the scripture said this, therefore the self is. No, we cannot accept that. Who said that? Scriptures only say that. Scripture, you are reading it. It is the words only are saying it. The claim that the self-existing Atman is revealed by the subject-object relationship is of no value, does not stand on its own right. Wherever there is subject-object relationship, it cannot be the way, because the self cannot be the subject of the individual seeker. The objective I, meaning the referential subject, initially it was having the object of the world, seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, thinking, etc., conceptualizing also. Now it has a new game, and this I thought has the object called the self. That self is only a word. It is not its experience, it's thinking objectively about the self through the word self. Self can never become the object of the I, and therefore self is not revealed through subject-object relationship. Whether the rope is seen as a rope or as a snake, the rope exists in spite of the appearance of snake on it. Whether the blue color of the sky exists or doesn't exist, whether the red sky exists or doesn't exist, or the rainbow exists or doesn't exist, sky continues to be the sky. Whether the ornament exists or doesn't exist, the gold continues to be the gold. Whether the pot exists or doesn't exist, the mud continues to be the mud. So whether the Triputi exists or doesn't exist, appears or doesn't appear, the self continues as it is. That is your truth. Just as if the father appears or does not appear, brother appears or does not appear, son appears or does not appear, man continues to be. Oh, the gap between the father and the son, when the father dissolves and before the son appears. Oh, that gap, in that gap, the man is. Stupid, isn't it? The man is, in spite of all his fellows, exactly the same way. Then why did we use between the thoughts, between the breath? Arey, you don't understand. That's why these, what do you call, examples are brought so that your attention goes to, is weaned away from your norm. Thus, Jnaneshwar Maharaj tries to erase once and for all this exaggerated value given to the Triputi. Only a master can do that, because he is abiding in it. Only a master like Krishna could give Bhagavad Gita. He is abiding in it. He knows the full smorgasbord of life. What is the correct placement of karma, akarma, bhakti, the meditation, dhyan, yoga, gunas, everything he knows, and therefore he could give it systematically to Arjuna. Jnaneshwar Maharaj also, he is establishing it. Therefore, in this Amrutanubhava is his own experience. Or we should say experienceless experience, which he is trying to put in words. Because his guru asked him. So he is taking away all value giving to Triputi. In other words, Triputi is nothing but experience. Come to the principle. Don't go in bhav, imagination. No. Come to the principle. This is the principle. It is useless effort to eliminate Triputi step by step. But we talked about Triputi cannot be Triputi if the object is taken away. Continuous Triputi going on creates the ego, an imaginary continuity of the I. Because you or me, we all want to think, we all want reason, we all want logic. Because we are addicted to thinking. So such formulas are given. Only to be taken away from you afterwards. It is useless effort to eliminate Triputi step by step, because you didn't create the Triputi, it happened. Then how you are going to take it out? Through drugs, you are going to take it out. Through drinks, you are going to take it out. Through sleep, you are going to take it out. By closing your five senses, you are going to take it out. No data will go in, but inside data will start percolating. So much effort. Through pranayam, you are going to take it out. Through japa, you are going to take it out. So much effort. Vaikhari, Madhyama, Pashyanti, Para is nothing but removal of that triputi called Om or any mantra. That also is a triputi. And you are addicted to thinking, so you are given an exercise. Vaikhari, Madhyama, Pashyanti, Para. Go beyond the word. Where you go beyond the word, then triputi is dropped automatically. See? It is useless effort to eliminate triputi step by step. First, the world is mithya, then the experiencer, and when all these roadblocks are overcome, the waker becomes Paramatma, becomes, discovers that it is nothing but the Paramatma. Now, that this sadhana, this practice, this contemplation, can you do it in deep sleep? No. Can you do it in dream? No, because too many distractions, at the speed of thought, the things are happening in the dream. Then where is it possible? Only in the waking. Waking is the sattvic state. And in this waker, who is the conscious one? The waker. What is the true identity of the waker? Is the journey. The wave does not become the ocean, it is the ocean. The wave does not become the water, it is the water. To say that the waker becomes Paramatma, that is just a way of communication, but actually there is no becoming. Wave can never become Atma because it is already Paramatma. The self cannot become Atma because it is already Atma. The husband cannot become the man because he is already the man. So there is no becoming, there is only being. So also the waker is Paramatma. It is vyartha to talk in terms of becoming Paramatma after inquiring, meditation, etc. That means it is a waste of time talking about becoming. There is no becoming in spirituality. There is only being. And that being is a conscious being. We say conscious being meaning conscious. You are conscious of your continuous being. You are conscious of your continuous existence without a break. That, in other words, is called as knowing is being or being is knowing. In other words, that is realization. This is explained in the terms of Rajju Sarpa example. Dora Sarpa Bhasa Satsapane Dora Kazaisa Drashta Drishya Taisa Drashta Satsu. In the rope and the illusory snake, the reality is the rope. Similarly, in the seer and the seen, the reality is the seer, who is essentially the witnessing self. That waker is essentially the seer. That seer is essentially the original self. For both the rope and the superimposition of the snake on the rope, the reality is the rope. Without the rope, the snake could not appear. And the rope was self-existing. Some idiot imagined the snake on the rope. For the seen, the drishya padartha, the reality, same way, for the seen, the drishya, whatever is seen, whatever is experienced, whatever is known, the reality is the pure consciousness. For the seer and the drashta, the seer, the experiencer, the knower, The reality is the same, pure consciousness. So the Atma is the substratum for both the seer and the seen. We saw it one of the verses in last class. That the Atma alone as if appears as the seer and the seen. The witnessing consciousness itself is as if becoming the seer and the seen. The water itself is as if expressing as manyness of the waves. Because of the manyness of the waves, has the water become less or more? No. Same way, because of the appearance of seer and seen, has the consciousness become less or more? No. Consciousness continues to be consciousness. Because of the appearance of the snake, has the rope become less or more? No. Because of the appearance of the ornaments, has the gold become less gold or more gold? No, it continues to be the same. So is true about you. In spite of the appearance of waker, waking world, waking experience, dreamer, dream world, dream experience, and so on, the conscious self, the substratum, continues to be the same. And that sameness, that is your truth. That continuity, the sameness means that continuity without a break. That is that Atma Tattva. That is that conscious self. That is that eternal self. And then the scripture says, Tattvamasi, you are that eternal self. In this context, the term drashta has to be understood in two ways. What are the two ways? With reference to the Triputi, the drashta is in the relative position of the knower of the object, the known, and this drashta is in reality the absolute. So who is drashta? Who is the seer? Drashta means seer. The seer is in reference to the seen. Where is this? When do we employ this language of seer and seen? In the relativity. This drashta, the seer, is knowing the seen. It's seeing the seen. It appears the seer is separate from the seen. It appears that the seer is using the instruments, the faculties, and coming to know the seen. I, the seer, is using the instrument called eyes to see you all. I, the speaker, am using the instrument of the mouth to speak to you all. It appears that way. And where does it appear like this? It appears in the relative. And here it is told that in this relative, that all these, the drashta, here because the topic is of the drashta, that the drashta, the seer, is none other than the pure self itself. The wave is none other than the water itself. The ornament is none other than the gold itself. What's wrong in that conclusion? What more you need to think about now? What more you want to contemplate? It's a foregone fact. If it's a foregone fact, why do you want to think then? No thinking required. Triputi gone. So in reality, in the relative, when I am experiencing myself as the waker right now, or the speaker right now, or the seer right now, actually that speaker, that seer, that waker is nothing but that ultimate reality. Then why am I not being that? Because you are giving too much value and importance to the seen, to the heard, to the experienced. That is why in the previous verse it was called neti, neti, neti. Not this, not this, not this, and you come to, when there's no reference left, then that's what you are. And what is the second option? The same drashta is the one who is self-effulgent and therefore independent of the Triputi. So in the previous, in the option A, the seer, the hearer, we are talking all as one, the seer. He is nothing but the pure reality, the pure consciousness, the reality. Now in the option B, it is told that this seer by nature is self-effulgent, is self-illumined, and therefore independent of the Triputi, because this is also your conclusion. The Triputi of the waking world, waking experience, the Triputi of the dreamer, dream world, dream experience, the Triputi of the sleeper and sleep experience. All these come and go. And you know that these three come and go. Right now also, take it more subjectively, you also know that every thought that is getting formed in you is coming and going. And that is what is being told here, that the same drashta from a higher standpoint is the self-knowing one, self-conscious one, because and therefore, and because it is not affected by the Triputi, it is not affected by the seer, seen, seeing, hearer, heard, hearing. In other words, he is not affected by this, by the three. Therefore, it is independent. In the previous option, we could not see the independent aspect of the seer. So there it was told the seer is essentially the pure self alone. But here it is being emphasized that you are in your presence, in the presence of the self, in the presence of the witnessing consciousness, the Triputis come and Triputis go. And the witnessing consciousness, or the Atma, or it is independent of the Triputis. Independent of the Triputis means whether they are present or the Triputi is absent, it does not affect, it does not influence the consciousness that I am. Thus, for both the worldly objects that are seen and the seer of the object, I, the Supreme Self, is the reality. See how many different ways the teacher is trying to put it across to you. In one of the verses before, it was told the witnessing consciousness as if bifurcates itself. On one hand, it itself becomes the seer, and on the other hand, it becomes the seen. And the game between seer and seen continues. Here it is told that the seer, it itself is the pure consciousness. Except our problem is non-acceptance. नहीं यार, that is too much. No, I am divinity. No, 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 no. Papoham papa karma. That is my reality. I still have lot of desires. I still have lot of regrets. I still have lot of unfinished business. Blah, blah, blah. And keep digging your grave. Except if you keep thinking in that line, then that far is the pure consciousness in your mind. Actually, it is not. But if you keep thinking, yeah, it's okay. Mind is having desires. Mind is having competition. Mind is having kama, krodha, lobha, moha. It's okay. The mind itself is expressing as the triputis. It's okay. Give it zero value. Because you cannot stop the triputis from appearing in the mind. Their journey is manifestation of and unmanifestation. Manifestation and unmanifestation. Triputis. You did not create them. You can remove them forcefully, but there are consequences. But when they go away by themselves, then it is healthy. Because everything that comes into existence must go out of existence. Whatever that appears must disappear. Anything that is born must dissolve or die. Anything that manifests must become unmanifest. That is the rule of the relative. And that relative is your mind. And you are the witness of that mind. Accept it or suffer. So just as every wave is nothing but the water, same way every thought, so that wave in the water is nothing but water, every thought is nothing but pure consciousness. And what is that thought made up of? Triputi, seer, seen, seeing. So seer is also pure consciousness. The instruments are also pure consciousness. And the seen object is also pure consciousness. Oh, this is too much, man. You're not keeping any place where I can exist. No, you cannot exist as an individual. There is no place. We'll take away everything from you. See? Negation of objectivity, negation of objects, negation of triputi must lead to this realization that everything is pure consciousness. Who is being told? You. Who are you? Who are essentially the pure self but thinking you are an individual. Essentially pure consciousness but thinking you are born, you are going to die, that you need to realize before death, that you need to attend the satsang. Only then you will realize. Satsang is good, but if it is not taken subjectively, then you can keep listening, keep listening, keep listening. Someday it will click. That this whole thing is only a game going on. Consciousness playing with consciousness. For the eternal seer, the seeing is without seeing. The hearing is without hearing. The truth is other than the known and the unknown. In other words, it is experienceless experience. Who? For the ultimate, for that eternal witness, for that eternal seer. Here the word used was drashta, so we are using seer. For that eternal drashta, which is you only, even right now. Because if you were the I am listening, if you ask that I, what did you listen? You will immediately repeat, oh, I heard that I am listening. But that I went away with that Triputi. Then who was listening? It must be someone else. Take that book, find that. Or be that one, not find that one, be that one. That's the eternal one, who does not come, who does not go. So it is a knowing less knowing, a seeing less seeing, a hearing less hearing, experience less experience. These are the only words by which we can express that. This supreme I remains immutable, whether it manifests as seen or not. Darpane ani mukhe mukhadise he na chuke pari mukhi mukh satuke darpani nahi. It is true that the reflection is seen in the mirror, but the face that is reflected is the real one and not the reflection of the face. Which is real? The reflected face is the real, or the original face is the real? It is true that the reflection of the face is seen in the mirror, but that does not mean that anything has happened to the face. So just like the face appears in the mirror, reflection is taking place. Has something happened? It is a happeningless happening. The mirror came in front and automatically reflection happened. Did you do anything for it? Exactly the same way, the consciousness appears as the reflection called the Triputis. Who is doing it? Nobody. I didn't do the Triputi, but it happens. Waking world and waking experience, dreamer, dream world and dream experience happens. Nobody is doing it. It's happening. Nobody is making the sky blue. Nobody is making the Vipgyric colors. Nobody is making the mirage waters. They're happening. Exactly the same way. It does not mean that anything has happened to the face. Furthermore, the reflection is fully dependent on the face. The reflection is fully dependent on the original face. The blue color is fully dependent on the space. Blue color comes and goes. Space does not come and go. Ornament is fully dependent on the gold. Ornament can come and go. It can be melted. But gold remains gold. Triputis can come and go. But the self remains as the self. Similarly, the reflection can come and go, but the original remains the same. Even without being reflected, the face continues to be, whether there is reflection or no reflection, whether there is a mirror or no mirror. The original face continues to be. In other words, whether there is mind or no mind. In other words, whether there is Triputi or no Triputi. The self continues to be. Even without being reflected, the face continues to be because it is the reality, not the reflection. It is the original. In the same way, whether I expresses as the seer with reference to the seen, whether there is a waking plane of consciousness or dream plane of consciousness, nothing is added to me and nothing is subtracted from me. I am the substratum. Recognize this about yourself. Accept this about yourself. If the Triputi is appearing, you have not become less. If the Triputi is dissolved, you have not become more. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. If the waves have appeared, the ocean doesn't become less. If the waves have dissolved, ocean doesn't become more. If the ornaments have been created, it is not reduction of gold. And if the ornaments have got melted, it is not increase in gold. Gold continues to be the same. Exactly the same way, with the appearance of the Triputis, we have not become the self, the I has not become less, and by the disappearance of the Triputis, the I has not become more. The absence of everything in the deep sleep state of consciousness does not subtract anything from the Supreme I. Thus, the Supreme I is independent of manifestation. In fact, the Supreme I is independent of manifestation or unmanifestation. Here in deep sleep, so when it is, what is manifestation? Manifestation is waking and dream. So that does not reduce the I, and the deep sleep, it does not increase the I. Or the other way you can take it, that everything is taken away from you, that is the I. No, who am I? Who am I? No, no, who am I? I am that I am. Self continues to be self. Addition or subtract, addition, waking and dream. Subtraction, the deep sleep, does not affect the self. The self remains the self. In this way, we have to contemplate. In the same way, the seer is the reality and the seen is meaningless. We'll look into that in our next class. Contemplate, accept the reality of yourself, and be free here and now. Be free here and now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om.